Welcome to the show. As you recall, last week we did a 1 week Give Me a Break investigation into Zoom bombing. If you guys don't know what Zoom is, it's an online classes for people to join, to where they communicate with their students, and that is what most people have been doing. As school districts come up with a plan to communicate with their students using Zoom. But Zoom is under attack from hackers known as Zoom bombers. And in our investigation, we looked at 3 YouTubers, 4, because one I couldn't pronounce. We looked at 3 YouTubers who did this, and the names are Zax or Zachary, Jack Doherty, Dom Tracy, and number 4 I cannot pronounce. One has been arrested, and this is what the article says. He was arrested, but they couldn't hold him off handcuffs because he was a juvenile. He was like 17 or 18 at the time. He was 17. And at 17, he could not, the police couldn't talk to him. They couldn't ask him any questions because he was under the age of 18. And prior to this investigation, I asked Jack if he would come on the show to tell me his side of the story. He did not respond to messenger emails. Nor did Jack, nor did Dom and Zax. So that leaves me into the hole. And as a result of this investigation, Zax is the only one arrested. Now, prior to this, in their videos, they apologized to him for doing all this. And that led me to believe that they're really sorry about this. But I'm going to tell you straight up right now, I don't care. You shut down the educational process that they were using. You interrupted the educational process that they were really using. I don't care if it was just for views. I don't care if it was just for funny laughs or whatever. I really don't care. I care about education. Education is the key factor here. We all need education to get great jobs and good jobs, and to get good minimum wage. And you decided to make funny videos about it for your views. And there's a ton of articles relating to this. So, into this. Zax was charged with computer crime and offense degree, conspiracy to commit computer crime and offense degree, and breach of peace. So now we know the court date for this, June 1st. June 1st, he is going to court. In the 2 videos, in the video that he posted, we now know the cops were there just to talk to his parents, because they now know that he was a juvenile. And in the state of Connecticut, cops cannot talk to juveniles. And now Jack. Dom did the same thing. The police came to his house. 3 people were involved in this. They apologized. And then in Dom's video, there was an email related talking to Dom saying to stop this. I'm going to tell you something right now. You 3 shut down the educational process they were using. That makes me pissed off as an expert in education, which I'm really not an expert in education, but you really decided to shut down the educational process that all children were using. Zoom. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you're doing it for a funny video or for entertainment purposes only. You shut down the educational process. You juveniles need to pay the price. Just because you apologize to the school districts, and to the students, that does not mean that you just go on there and make more funny videos for entertainment purposes. It's not right. What matters is people have to get the education that they deserve. And if you don't believe me, the people who do not do these Zoom classes, Dr. Phil says the attendance rate has dropped because of all this. And if that happens, most of the time, what can happen here is that all people who want to get the education they deserve cannot even get the education they deserve, because you guys have decided You guys have decided to shut down the educational process. And now you guys are going to court for all of this. And we will decide whether jail time should be good enough for you. I mean, you guys get adjudicated. If you were in the school district, you could have been suspended. The superintendent will look at this and it's like, you're suspended. And all school districts are using this system. I'm not going to lie. All school districts in this area, in every area, is using them. In every country. So the bottom line I'm trying to tell you is, don't do this again. Because if it happens, I'm coming to wherever you're at. And it will be. I'm coming to wherever you're at. I will go to your court. And I will tell my side of the story. Alright, we're going to take a break here. Alright, we're going to take a break here. Coming up, my reaction to Governor Greg Abbott closing all schools permanently. He says he wants to shut down schools. He wants to reopen Texas slowly, starting with shutting down all schools. That's my reaction. And later. And then later on. Weeks ago, I told you about a person who was on Dr. Phil for licking, who was Insta-famous, who appeared on Dr. Phil for licking a toilet seat. Now, one other person is caught doing this. You'll hear my thoughts about this next. Imagine going on the airplane and seeing this happening. Imagine this in this case scenario. You're on the airplane, and then you realize you have nothing to do. You hear about this coronavirus happening, and yet you think it's all a hoax. So you decide to come up with a challenge to where you lick a toilet seat, and then you get the coronavirus. People think it's just all a hoax. That's what happened. That's what happened. Weeks ago, I talked to you about one person who was on Dr. Phil. Her name is Ava, who was an Instagram famous. She was now on the news for licking a toilet seat. I watched that segment. And I gotta tell you, are you kidding me? We can't have people licking toilet seats, thinking it was just all a hoax. It's not a hoax. It is the real thing. The coronavirus is the real thing. You think you're faking it? You fake it, you're under arrest. We can't have this happen anymore. We can't have this happen all over the country. I mean, we're trying to stop the spread of the virus. And all that you're doing is just licking toilet seats. We can't have that anymore. So I'm going to tell you something right now. If I saw someone licking a toilet seat, if I was in the bathroom and I saw you licking a toilet seat, if I was filming you looking at the toilet seat and I saw you did this, I'm not posting it on YouTube. I'm not posting it. I will tell the flight attendant and I will tell the flight attendant and they will do something about it. And now a second person has been doing this. The second person. He was supposed to be not Phil, but he chickened out. He was chickening out for this. And I will tell you why he chickened out. Because he was this person did the same thing and ended up in the hospital. Was he arrested? We don't know, but the New York Times says he was hospitalized. He was fully hospitalized with coronavirus. Why? Because he licked the damn toilet seat. That's why. That's why you don't do stupid shit like this. Did your parents ever teach you not to do stupid shit? If you did stupid shit, you would get your ass in jail. You would sit in jail for the rest of your damn life. And if you did sit in jail, you'd be sitting there saying, why did I do this? I'll tell you why you did it, because you thought it was funny. It was really funny to do this kind of shit. And if you did think it was funny, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not funny. It's not funny, it's not blower, and it's not a good way to get views. You're going to get sick. And if you get sick and end up in the hospital with that virus, the biggest thing that's going to happen to you is that you're going to end up in the grave. Your parents are going to be like, my son was a great kid. My son was a good kid. He died lifting a toilet seat. And if you fake it, you're probably going to be arrested. We can't have people going to jail for this crap. We're trying to keep this under control. And the way we're doing is not to do Zoom bombing. Keep the educational process going. And the biggest thing ever that we have to do is not ever do this again. Ever. Don't ever do this again. And don't you dare film it on the airplane, or don't do it in your house. Because if you saw me in an airplane and I see someone looking at a toilet seat, I would have reported to the flight attendant, and they would have said to stop the flight to Los Angeles, New York, Tennessee, wherever, because you decided that it'd be okay to look at toilet seat, and return over to the proper authorities. The bottom line here I'm trying to get to you is, let's not lick toilet seats ever again. We had to stop the virus spreading all over the place. And if that happens, then we could go back to exercising and going on with our lives. But this virus is not a hoax. It is a big, big issue here. And I'll tell you why it's a big issue, because you've seen it on the news. It's all over the news, all over the media. You think it's a hoax. It's not a hoax. It's the real thing. So I'm going to tell you straight up right now, don't ever do this again. I don't want to talk about this ever again, and if I have to talk about it, you're going to be hearing a lot from me. I ain't going to be happy. Alright, I'm going to take a break here. Coming up, Governor Greg Abbott says he wants to reopen Texas slowly. On Friday, Greg Abbott shut down the schools. A lot of kids were reacting to the situation. You'll hear their reactions and my reaction about this after the break. Welcome back. If you just joined us today, we're going to be focusing more about the coronavirus and updating you on this Give Me a Break investigation into Zoom bombing. Now we're going to be focusing on Governor Greg Abbott closing down schools for the remainder of the year. This comes after he wants to reopen Texas slowly by reopening U.S. businesses and reopening parks. This is from the Texas Tribune, which says in part, doctors and health experts say it isn't safe to let students go back to their schools. The governor said at a news conference announcing executive orders intended to slowly open the Texas economy. He announced Friday that public and private school classes will remain closed for the remainder of the school year to avoid quickening the spread of the COVID-19 disease by the new coronavirus. This decision was made with the advice of doctors and health officials, came alongside a series of executive orders to slowly reopen the state economy, relaxing restrictions on retail businesses, doctors' offices, and public parks. Abbott said the team of doctors advising us to determine what it would be unsafe to allow students to gather schools for the foreseeable future. And this is the biggest thing ever. The Texas State Teachers Association applauded the decision that removes hundreds of Texas communities, and health experts say it would help to slow the spread of coronavirus. Meanwhile, teachers will continue to work with their students to provide less activities remotely, as they've been doing for several weeks. The president urged the state to continue fully funding its school districts to require them to keep paying hourly workers such as custodians and service workers. Texas Education Commissioner Mike will provide school districts more details soon. It fully supports the governor's actions. Until late March, NIMAC ordered schools statewide shut down at least May 4th. This were making their own calls on whether to close. I mean, this comes like after this happened. I mean, we were hoping to extend until May 4th, but for the rest of the year, I'm sure hoping that all schools come up with a plan. Their plan is to do it remotely, meaning just use Zoom. I mean, I'm fine with this, but the teachers students haven't even seen the teachers, and what he's doing is just basically doing the right thing. The district official, including restating makeup for any lost current year. Exactly. Why not make up the 2 months we lost? I mean, they lost March and April. Make up the 2 months they lost. And then we could all be happy. How do we do that? Just make up the 2 months you lost. So that we don't have to go through this again. And if we do, that's another give me a break that you don't want to miss. It's a good job delivery, Greg. Good job, Greg. Mr. Abbott. You've done a great job, and you've done a great job. Dude. If it's the right thing you're going to do, I think it's the right thing you're going to do. But for the Texas Teachers Association, let's just have no filter when it comes to stupid stuff like this. I went to school for several years. We didn't have relay releases. So if you were to sit here and think, and I'll tell you right now that as an expert in education and knowing the rules, I strongly recommend that we just make up the months. Because it's basically what it is. You're going to sit here and bark at me and say, I mean, the Texas Teachers Association applauded for this. All students were in different schools where we reacted to the situation, and they were pissed. What about for seniors? Well, Dr. David Freeman of Florida School District, he came up with a plan to do this at the auditorium with a limit of 10 people. But if it's going to happen, there has to be a limit of more than 10 people. It can't be a limit of more than 10 people, otherwise the police would come in and shut it down. So what's he going to do about it? Well, he's going to come up with a plan, as we heard on the podcast, first podcast weeks ago. But I like the idea, and I will be there to make sure that there's no more than 10 people. If he comes with his plan, I will be there. I'll be back in the room with a final thought. The articles that we talked about really just raise a concerted question. Why can't these YouTubers understand that if they do something like this, they're going to get in trouble? There are certain reasons for this. Reasons that it's against the law or illegal. Presenting passwords, that is illegal to do. And if you're the person, you have to realize something. You can't be going around like giving out passwords. They blocked out the passwords. But what they really have to understand here is that we don't need this out. You may just edit it out, but the police have the full version of this. And the police will do their best to investigate, and so will I. And if you were to take a lie detector test for the police and say, and ask if you guys did this, and you say no, if it comes back that you did it, you will pay for your actions. And as a juvenile, you will be sent to juvie until you're 18 and you get sent off to jail. Depending on what the law is. Why do we need to? Why, second thing, why do we need toilet lickers? I mean, I told you guys before, this virus is not a hoax. It is a real thing. You wouldn't think it's funny for all viewers to like participate in your challenges to where you would lick toilet seats on an airplane or any other public places? They're gonna look at you like you're full of shit. And it's a big thing. If you get sick of the coronavirus, you're dead. And I'm glad that Greg Abbott decided to shut down schools because of the health concerns. But won't it make up the weeks, months to 2 months that they lost in school? If it does, it could help out a lot for any other school district that lost the month of school. Because back then we did not have any release. They really want kids like staying in school. So the bottom line I have to say to you troll lickers is don't ever do this again. It's YouTubers out there who want to do the Zoom bombing challenge. Do not ever do this again. Because you're mad to shut the education process. I can stand here and say, not do this again. You can shut down the education process, but you can't. You can really shut down. You can do this challenge, but you shut down the education process. You shut down the whole schools. You realize that it was not for internal purposes. It was realized for your viewers. You can come on here and make excuses, but your excuses won't even work. If you were in the Marine Corps, they would teach you not to make excuses. Shame on you, shame on you for YouTubers. I can't even call you YouTubers. I wish you guys would come on. We're going to continue getting this coronavirus up to date. Tomorrow we're going to the latest numbers, and we understand what happens tomorrow. Out of control kids, like the ones we see on Maury, even teens. This comes after seeing a Maury episode. We're going to the very latest tomorrow. Even the kids out of control. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of others. Have a good night.